Welcome back to the Small College Basketball Podcast. My name is Chris Cottrell, and with more than 10 years of small college basketball coaching experience and entering our third season of full coverage here on the Small College Basketball Podcast, this is the only podcast with interviews, news, and highlights that celebrates the incredible coaches, players, and programs across all of small college basketball, celebrating NCAA Division II, NCAA Division III, the NAIA, the NCCAA, and the USCAA. Small College Basketball would like to thank Visit Central Florida for their support of the podcast and the Small College Basketball Hall of Fame Classic. Start planning your Central Florida vacation now at visitcentralflorida.com. That's visitcentralflorida.com. All right, everyone, welcome back to the Small College Basketball Podcast. As always, I am Chris Cottrell. I'm joined today by Coach Josh Andrews, and we are going to talk about all things small college basketball, especially at Taylor University in the NAIA, one of the best leagues in the country, in the Crossroads League. Coach, it is awesome to reconnect with you. We've got a little back history we were talking about before we started, but so good to reconnect and just looking forward to this conversation. So thanks for being here.
No, it's my pleasure, Chris. I appreciate all that you do and our relationship going back many years. You were a relentless recruiter from my days at Cincinnati, Princeton, and I always appreciated you and your professionalism and what you do for the game. So my pleasure to be here.
No, I appreciate those kind words. It's been about 15 years since we really connected. I think we've run into each other a couple of times, but I was at Lincoln Memorial. You were at Princeton, like you said, and made a lot of Cincinnati trips during those Lincoln Memorial days. So now you've moved on to Taylor University. You are in your, I want to say your 11th season there. And you've been in the process of rebuilding, kind of gotten the program where you want it. But the first thing that we got to dive into is this silent night, the silent night tradition of Taylor University. You know, every year on Twitter, you see Taylor University silent night, and it gets all the likes, all the posts on Instagram and everything. So if you would take us through the silent night tradition that Taylor University is probably most famous for at the moment.
Oh, it's amazing. So I hope I do it justice. I think 26 years going now. So 26 years, and it seems to just keep gaining traction, which is just crazy. How I understand it is Coach Steve Brooks was an assistant, former player. I think 97 is the year, but had adopted it from having seen it at, I believe, Geneva College in Pennsylvania, I believe is how the story goes. He had seen something like it done. And again, I may not be doing it justice there, but kind of in a roundtable decided, hey, how can we get boost some attendance? And I think it kind of went in conjunction with what had already been a little bit of a tradition at Taylor, where the last game before finals, some students would wear pajamas to the game, to the home game. And then a lot of times there was a little bit of a Christmas festivity with the president that followed that, as I understand it. And then it became more of a focused silent night in the late 90s, where the crowd was going to be quiet until the 10th point, and then the eruption, and everything kind of went from there. In the middle 2000s, maybe approaching 2010 or so, into that second decade, I believe it made it to YouTube and was more of a social media sensation at the same time. And that is where it has just launched and has had so much interest and has become quite the attraction. We would spend more than 30 minutes if I told different stories that have gone on with people that come, or marriage proposal. We had a group from Italy come and do a feature on it 5 years ago. It has just been amazing. And I know you'll have more questions about it, Chris. What's so remarkable about it, though, is how it ties into how the student body gets behind it, how the community of professors and people that work and people live in town and Upland, and how it's just unites everybody. It's been such a connection. It's just it is marked on the calendar as something to plan for, look forward to, and we just happen to be center stage as the basketball program. It's kind of like in this event, a basketball game breaks out at the 10th point, and of course, we're so blessed to be a part of it because it's indescribable if you've never been there.
Yeah. So you say the 10th point. For the listeners, the crowd is quiet. Everyone comes into the gym. It's silent. Is it your 10th point or is it a collective 10th point?
It's our 10th point. And that's the pressure.
You got to be good offensively then.
You can imagine as the coach, and for our guys, like our guys eat it up. They can't wait. Of course, they know about it in recruiting. They're asking about it. We've had a couple years in my time, Chris, where the opponent gets to 10 before us, which is a little bit of a letdown. But there's a lot of pressure on the guys. You're trying to prepare and be loose, but the atmosphere, the energy in the arena, it literally is indescribable. And for at the point that we're ready to get to starters and do the announcements and the introductions, you can hear a pin drop. And so it is just such a change. Now, leading up in warm-ups, it's chaos, it's loud. The students and the fans are raucous in warm-ups. And so you got all the energy prior, and then it's just flat till we get to the 10th point. When Taylor scores the 10th point, the place goes nuts, and students are everywhere. And then we tell recruits, we tell our guys, and they know it. For the rest of that game, we've got the best home court atmosphere that night anywhere, I would say, in the world. I mean, it's amazing.
What have you put in place? Because if I recall, going back and looking at videos of past silent nights, this year it's a court storm. It is awesome. I mean, it's incredible to watch. Has it kind of gotten to that point where every year it gets a little more celebratory, a little more intense?
It's kind of varied by years. The students are storming the court, and I don't know that you're stopping them.
Yeah.
Uh, and they get, they're a great group of young people, of college students. They get off the floor pretty quick. Our athletic staff is fantastic. They clean it up or whatever's going on, and we're back to competing. And then the opponent, they know what they're getting into. They can just go to the webpage and look at it, or go to YouTube. They see what's going on. They know what they're getting into. So that part's probably a little bit different for the opponent as well. From that point forward, outside of the entire student body singing Silent Night inside of 2 minutes in that second half, to finish, it's a regular game. It just is an atmosphere that the opponents never played in as well, and never will, again.
Yeah. And
Uh,
I mean, so have you put your stamp on it at all? Anything that you've done or you've asked for that's been unique to your time there?
no, I've got some buddies in the department that have really pressed me to dress up, like the students, and get in on that. And I don't know how that would be received. It'd probably be pretty fun, but
Yeah.
yeah, we've tried to be more so just show out of respect and honor to the university organizes this event, which again, I don't know what that would compare to across college basketball or even other sports, where an entire university and community is putting a lot of investment and energy and time into the development and the preparation that goes on with this. And my job is to make sure we got our guys ready, and that we got an opponent, and we're going to have a basketball game break out in the middle of this. But we just kind of get to be the feature of what's going on there. So no, nothing super specific on my end. I spend most of my time, Chris, trying to help uh, manage my guys' emotions and make sure they're not doing something crazy in the middle of the intensity that is this game, because it's pretty intense.
Yeah. And we were talking before the air, so I do want to hit on this. One of the things that is unique to small college basketball is the familial aspect. And you mentioned your family, like your son, you said, really gets into it. Like, what's it like for him? What did you say? He's 5 years old, I think.
He's 5. He's just old enough. We've actually got him. We snuck him on the court the first couple years of his life. He's a little lefty. He's about this big. I know that won't surprise you, but he, for most of his youth, would get out on the floor with my dad, who doesn't miss a game, and get some shots up. So this little lefty that's just pint size, and he's a pretty good little shot maker. Of course, I'm biased. So a couple of the years he's gotten shots up at halftime for a minute or two, and you got 2,500 people going nuts for him. He's finally old enough now that he realizes that, man, I'm the only guy out there on the court. So this is
Right.
he's a little bashful, but yeah, he talks about it a couple weeks in advance. He's probably played it back 5 or 6 times since Friday night, and works on the hoop, on the door, and at the house, that kind of thing, playing to this, like any coach's son would, who loves the game. And it is we're able to, tickets are limited. Chris, it's a hard ticket. They put it on sale. They advance notice a month in advance or whatever it is. I think they sold out 300-ish tickets in
Wow.
20 minutes. So there's not much. Our our arena only holds enough for student body and some faculty and staff and that type of thing. So to add much more, it's pretty limited. So it's a hard ticket to get, but for anyone connected, for coaches, families, my family, it's an important date on the calendar.
Right. So you defeat Great Lakes Christian. This is a week ago now on Saturday. And uh, the Silent Night game is over. You have a long stretch. And I want to talk about your team a little bit too. But for the listeners, we've talked about this in prior episodes. Small college basketball, especially NAIA, there's a long stretch for winter break, holiday break. What's the emotion like coming off that game? How does that game and the emotion of that game affect your off time?
A great question. I would love to tell you that it doesn't,
Right.
because we prep our guys, and um, the NAI, and this as in your time in the profession, it's you could play at an NAI school. You can have a game like that, which we know is special to us, and that's unique. But you have a Christmas break game. We're going to play December 19th in the afternoon in front of, we will be fortunate if there's 75 people in the gym, right? It's Christmas
Right.
break. All the students are gone. There'd be a limited amount of Ohio Christian University's fans that are going to be traveling. And so you have to love the game, right? And this would kind of get into a backwards philosophical approach to recruiting and how you run a program at this level. But you're looking for guys that love the game. Hey, we'll play on the blacktop if you want. I got a chance to compete and play. And so you got to come out of that game, get through exams. Our exams are, follows a Silent Night. That's the rhythm of when that game comes, is it's always the Friday night before exam week. So you gotta have some juice left in the tank from pouring into your studies and the books, and then you got to compete again in a completely different environment. And I actually call me a basketball purist, or a competitor. I love that stuff because it's if you love to compete, you don't need a huge fan base or audience, and you get a chance to be with your guys and go to war. And so that's what it'll be, and that's Christmas break games, right? That's break
Yeah.
level. And hey, for some years, I know, long answer, but plenty of years we try to travel. We'll do it again next year. We don't have major, a Phoenix trip or a Arizona or Florida this year, but most years we do. And you try to break that up that way. But I think our guys do a good job of it. I guess you and I could check in after the 19th. I'll let you know how well.
That's that's awesome. The break is something that, when you watch on TV, everyone's watching the high majors, and there really is no break. I mean, there's a break, but
Sure.
we all know in the profession there's really limited break. When you've got a break of this duration at the NAI level, Division III, Division II, we were talking about this a couple episodes ago. You're the team. You're coordinating the meals. You're coordinating who's got to ride to practice, who's got to see the trainer or the off-campus doctor. Like, you're trying to do everything
Yes.
and recruit and manage your team. What's that like at Taylor? What's that scenario like at Taylor for you?
The same, but I don't know. I guess there's part of that that I appreciate. There's probably times where I have to check myself if I get a little fussy about that, like anybody can when you're fatigued or you got long days with the guys and you're working. But I think that's the maybe the humility to the both the profession, but also for the guys at this level where you're not being. Our guys got it really good, Chris. We got it really good here. I got a great position. Yeah, we're blessed. Hey, but you're doing laundry. You're making sure you got your guys taken care of. You either got meal money or you got meals planned, and you're filling some time. You're feeding them at the house. You're doing all those things. And you mentioned the family nature, including my family, but I think that's part of maybe what would seemingly be some of the nuisances of either the profession or how that works at this level. I think you can really spin and be a positive and build a really strong uh, connection with your guys. And I think you're modeling the appreciation for, hey, we got to do a lot of little things and we're together over break and nobody's around and it's us and get a chance to build our team. And that's a big part of what we do. Right. And that's what it's about. So yeah, we do all those things. And I like to think we do them, my staff and I, with good spirit.
Yeah, there were times I can remember during break where you would wake up and go, "Oh, today's going to be brutal." But then there are a lot of days during break where you're like, "This is awesome. All we're doing is eating and coaching basketball." Like this,
Well,
it really,
no, you hit it right there.
yeah,
I love to tell the guys that sometimes that can become cliche, but hey, fellas, you got a really tough day today. You're gonna compete and play the game you love with teammates that you love. Oh, and your food's taken care of, and we're gonna go. Hey, you're going to a movie tonight, or we're going. We're gonna go hang out at coach's house or whatever. Like, it's a tough day, right?
yeah.
I think the perspective there is critical. And I just think that's when your team gets a chance to really come together. They're not all separated in the classes and across campus and that type of thing. And you're together. And I think it can be a real positive.
So right now you're entering break. You're 5-6. You did come off a really good win against Great Lakes Christian. Shot 55% from the field. Anton Webb double double. Where's your team right now heading into break? What are you looking for over break? And then, coming out of break, obviously your league is really, really talented.
Just no, we've not played as well as I think we expected. A couple games got away from us. We'd really like to get back, and we're not getting those back. So we've the break time, even these previous 2 weeks, has just been a laser beam on execution, and it's just been missing at the level that we want it to be, that we know this team needs. So we've just been about our execution. I don't know that there's many programs that are different right now, but as ours continues to improve, and you're right, our silent night game, for the poise and the emotional, what I would say emotional toughness, but the emotional management to come out as poise and execution, which for the most part is what we did for 40 minutes. I was very proud of. We're trying to use that as a springboard. Had been in a rough stretch, a little bit of a losing streak. So we need to have great practices, a lot of team execution, and we do think this team's got what it takes to win games in our league. Our league is, we're biased, but we think it's as good as any at this level, and we've got to play better basketball. We're capable of it, and we're going to work towards that. And hopefully be ready for a January run and get back in the real grinder of this. But that's what I love. I'm a competitor. Call it, just being a little guy that likes to be in the fight or whatever. That's the Crossroads League, and I love it. We try to attract guys that want to be in that. They recognize what it is, and you got to bring it every night. And we got to keep moving forward.
Yeah, and with the Crossroads League and with where you're at right now, you're talking execution. This is a coaching question, philosophical question. What
Sure.
comes first, making shots or executing better? Because man, you can execute really, really poorly and make shots, nobody feels good. You
Yeah.
can execute really, really well and miss shots and nobody feels good. So in your mind, what are you telling your guys?
So it's a veteran coach's question, right? We made Gavin Yoon, who scored the 10th point, makes his first three, was real balanced. We kind of had, they came out in the zone, which is team we played Silent Night is a changing full court defensive team that'll change in the half court as well. A coach's nightmare in a silent night atmosphere under pressure. How are we going to get to 10 points looking at all these different, defenses, that type of thing. So Gavin Yoon, senior, passes on his first look, kind of swings the ball, plays with some patience, gets it back on an inside outside three, knocks it down. No surprise, he makes his second three for the 10th point. And there's just something about I hear Matt Painter use this in the past, being patiently aggressive and finding that balance. Sometimes you're in a shooting slump and you have to use courage instead of have confidence, right? It's tough to tell a guy to have confidence when he's not been making shots. Execution is always better when guys are confident and making shots. So balance of both. But I really believe in doing things the right way. I think it was the Atlanta Falcons years back. I've stolen this phrase, or one of my former assistants did, where they would say, you got to do right longer. And I just think there's something about doing the right things, continuing to doing the right things from practice and get some game translation. And I think that's what our team needs. We do. Our Taylor needs to shoot the basketball at a higher level, and we're capable of it. I do think that comes out of execution. I do think that comes out of habit. Certainly some confidence plays in there, but that's probably a sideways answer, Chris, but it's a little bit of both. You got to spend a little more time in the gym, got to take the right shots, got to do the right things longer. But execution is critical to our success this year, and five guys being on the same page.
Anton Webb, Caden Furman, Caleb Hodgson having good years for you so far. One senior out of that group, two juniors, kind of a young team for you this year.
We've got a balance there. We'll lose Gavin Yoon and Grant Niehaus, both important guys. Gav's been in the starting lineup. Grant's kind of a Swiss Army knife, sixth man. That's a rugged three, can shoot it a little bit, but does a lot of the dirty work, is a glue guy. And those guys have led well, and they need to continue to lead well, even at a higher level. What would be the junior class, either from transfer, just meaning, I got 2 years left this year and next year. That's a class that's doing a lot of production, scoring. That's Webb, that's Hodgson. Jackson Lewis has been our starting point guard. Caden Furman is leading volume shot takers. So that class really important. We got several freshmen making an impact. The sophomore class is doing good things. So we're fairly balanced. I think, Chris, we've got our rotation close to being right, playing the way we want them to. And doing that every night is going to be really important. We need to get a lot out of our guys, just being steady and consistent.
Yeah, and something I want to point out to the listeners, we're talking about things that Matt Painter has said. We're talking about your lineup and confidence versus courage at every level, right? Just because Matt Painter says it doesn't mean that small college basketball coaches aren't thinking the same thing. Like, everyone's vested in the success of their kids and their program. And I've loved this conversation. We could go a lot of different ways with this from a coaching standpoint, but I want to respect your time. It's late. Want to respect the listeners' time. They probably don't want to hear us go down the rabbit hole of offense and defense. But for you came back to Taylor. You kind of started there, spent some time there, did the high school route, came back to Taylor. What was unique to Taylor about you, and what makes it so special?
Well, first and foremost is how much growth I took on personally there, and how memorable that is for me. The faith component for me personally, the fact that I'm very public about my faith at a place like Taylor, it attracts leaders. It's something. Leadership is something I'm really, for whatever reason, I'm the youngest child. It probably doesn't match. I don't know why. I've just always been attracted to leadership. This place is a leadership factory. Coach Paul Patterson had a great influence as a mentor on my life. Taylor has a coaching coaching tree that is just second to none for small college. Chris Holtman's a Taylor alum. Ohio State, Coach John Gross at Akron, Coach Jeff Meyer just recently retired. Many other notable coaches who have made an impact on the game. But the doors supernaturally opened, Chris, for me to come back here. The thought of coupling, who I am as a man of faith, caring about leadership, growing up young men, being able to coach basketball at a super high level. is just, it just matches who I am and what I like to think I am very purposeful and passionate about. So I'm very blessed to be here. I have a wonderful position and opportunity here, and go up against some of the greatest coaches and greatest programs at small college basketball, night in and night out. And again, if you're a competitor, then that's something you want to do. And you had mentioned at the beginning of the show or podcast here, we got we're not where we want to be and where I think we'll be, but it's been a real joy to see our guys move forward and grow and fight, and that's it's what I love to do.
Yeah, and you are, I believe, the third head coach at Taylor in the last 70 years.
A long
Uh,
time.
that is some incredible stability at that
Yeah.
position. I mean, you're talking about an institution with great consistency and great support for sure.
Yeah, both, and it speaks to the institution. It speaks to what this place is about. And I didn't. Guys had said, "Hey, man, you're filling some big shoes," and I said, "Hey, we don't wear the same shoe size. I'm not even trying to. And it is a coveted position. It's an amazing place, and it really is my honor to be here and to do this. And don't take that lightly, and the lives of these guys that we're trying to develop, push, and challenge. And hey, we're fighting for a championship. We're continuing to grow what we're doing, and believe in what we're doing, and hope to see great success here coming days, months, weeks, years.
Well, I want to wish you the best of luck, continued success this season throughout your career. It's been awesome to catch up with you. For the listeners, this is a relationship that goes back a long time, so it was really cool to kind of get to talk to you and catch up before the show, and obviously celebrate the Silent Night tradition that Taylor University has. But I mean, what a cool tradition.
Yeah, it's I don't think we ever take it for granted. Sometimes we forget about how unique it is for this place and the notoriety that we receive from it. But it truly is amazing. And our play-by-play guy, Rick Johnson, and he does just a remarkable job. But he's always quick to say in that live broadcast, it's just, hey, if you haven't been here, if you haven't felt what goes on here, you got to try to get here. If you're a basketball fan and if you love small college basketball, that type of environment, it is just so unique. Silent Night. Chris, connecting with you, and always appreciated our relationship. And I mean that. You were a fantastic recruiter and relentless. And I've enjoyed the relationship. It's fun for me. It's fun 15 years plus to
Yeah,
see
right.
that come full circle. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. I really appreciate our time and want to thank you again for joining the Small College Basketball Podcast, Coach. Good luck the rest of the season.
Thank you so much. Thanks for what you do for the game, Chris.